Them that I can't breathe. Clearly he don't give a damn about my plea. His ancestors used to hang us on trees. Today they identify as road police. You see I'm black, for that I'm a threat to America. My rise is their fall and their fall is evident. Blood on your hands is heavier than an elephant. Open up America's closet and see skeletons. They
Family, welcome to my channel. I'm a twin, and this is Reunite Sandy Speaks. Again, welcome. Please subscribe, please like, and I strongly encourage comments because I want engagement. I want us to talk about things. So today on Reunite Sandy Speaks, what I'm going to talk about, you guys, is anti-black culture in the state of California. I'll be on social media and I'm like, California is the most anti-black state in this country. People be like, have you ever been to Mississippi? Have you been to Texas or Oklahoma? And I live in California for a very long time, past 20 years. I grew up in New York City. I was actually born in the South. I also lived in North Carolina. And I traveled throughout the South in like Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Florida a little bit. So I think I can gauge things. I do believe that as a country we have an issue. But I believe in California there's a severe issue. I think that the California culture is anti-black. And I just think it's so heavily ingrained into the culture of California that it's normal and usual in the state. And I believe for black people who have been in California most of their life or their entire life, we know that there are racial incidents where black people are targeted or harmed based on their race. We know that happens all over the country. My belief is that in California, I really believe California is the most anti-black state. And I say that because I think that the entities, law enforcement, the judicial branch, in private organizations, when there's an issue with racism or anti-black culture or incidents, guys, I need y'all to pay attention. They don't talk about it in California. Do you see any representatives from California acknowledging that California has a racial issue? And I always, dude, Google black man in California. Google black woman in California. You're going to always get something because California is anti-black. And I believe the culture is to suppress the racism, to cover it up, to minimize it. And it's what happens if there's a racial issue in law enforcement, in the judicial system, in private organizations. It's not acknowledged. It's not. This seems like to be a racial issue. This might be a cultural issue. Like sometimes racism occurs because of cultural differences and just being neglected or civil rights violated based on your belief. You understand what I'm saying? If that makes sense. And I think it is a culture. And so that was a very long introduction. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on California. We're going to talk about other states when it occurs, but I want to demonstrate that California has an issue. My initial mission was to do an update to the 14th Amendment. A 14th Amendment would have been a federal legislation. But you know what? As I thought about it, let's just take small bites. And let's start with California. I want us to make Gavin Newsom aware, which he already knows, that there's an issue, and we would appreciate it if he would address it. If you go on Gavin Newsom's Twitter page, he never talks about the issues that they have here. He's in Florida, worried about Florida. He's in red states, worried about red states. And California has some severe issues, okay? And on social, I kind of give Gavin Newsom a hard time. I'm going to let you guys know that. I really do. And I kind of have some guilt about it, because y'all know I'm always going to reference astrology. I'm always, you know, see, I'm looking for my astrology. I'm always going to reference astrology. I saw his astrology chart, and I believe he's a Virgo. And I don't remember exactly what his chart looked like, but I remember that he had a good chart. And his chart indicated that he was conscientious, that he was of service, that he was a good person. Okay? But we know in this white supremacist collective conscious, frequently white people are pressured to maintain this white supremacy or shunned if they highlight the racism. It's a cultural thing, you guys. And we have to address it. So I'm going to start. I'm have a conscious effort to look to identify issues here and demonstrate how when the issue occurred, what department, if it's private, if it's the news, if it's law enforcement, if it's the judicial system, watch how when this happens, how it's a concerted effort to downplay it and make it not about racism. Okay, that was a lot. So what I'm going to talk about today is this young lady named Mykaella Sharllman. Mykaella Sharllman was found dead. Her body was found badly burned on October 17, 2022 by the Antioch Police Department, so Antioch, California. Okay, so again, her name is Mykaella Sharllman, and her body was found badly burned. I think they found her when her body was burning, and she was unrecognizable. So look, I'm gonna put this video in here so y'all can get some context on what I'm discussing.
Helped identify the Antioch woman whose remains were recently set on fire near a city trail. Now the family of the 25-year-old woman is coping with the violent manner in which she lost her life. Our Crown 4's Philippe Jagal spoke with the woman's sister, who says her family has not slept in days.
We're having a rough time.
25-year-old Mykaella Sharllman's family reported her missing to the Antioch Police Department on October 16th, and the next day, police announced the woman's remains were set on fire on a paved walking trail north of Lopez Drive. Nicole Eason says her family was broken when they learned dental records identified her sister Sharllman as the homicide victim, likely killed before being set on fire. She was so badly burned, investigators initially shared photos of her jewelry to help shed light on who she was.
To take her body and put it in a garbage can and then burn her is one of the most heinous crimes that you could ever commit.
With her brother Justin by her side, Eason speaks for her family. They met with us virtually Tuesday. On Monday, the police department announced 2 people of interest have been arrested in relation to Sharllman's death and are currently in custody.
Now, my mother and my father will never get the opportunity to walk her down the aisle or her call and say she's pregnant or buying her first house.
Sharllman was the youngest of 7 siblings in a family of 9 Nicole Eason describes as close. She says her sister looked after her nieces and nephews.
She cared for them as if they were her own. She was our live-in babysitter, our unpaid admin for things. So we're going to miss that. Not being able
to. So let me tell you what the problem is with that. So the young lady's body was found, and my understanding was found, her body was burning, was in flames when they found her. And what they failed to discuss about this case, you guys, is that, let me find my notes, you guys, I apologize. Let me tell you what the problem is with this. Okay, Mykaella Sharllman. Her body was found by Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo, Boone. Y'all know I'm going to butcher some names up. Let me say this again. I'll put the names down here so you can read it because I'm not saying it right. Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo. Oh, I messed that up. It's Deangelo, my crazy self. Deangelo Boone. Ashton Montalvo and Deangelo Boone are police officers. And they were caught on video surveillance moving her body, putting her in a trash can, and moving her body and setting her on fire. They were originally charged with Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo Boone was charged with arson and mutilation of human remains in the death of the 25-year-old woman in October. The report says Sharllman was an aspiring hair salon owner and praise dancer at her church until she fell into a spiral of drug abuse. The medical examiner found she died on October 17th of fentanyl overdose. The two men found her body in an abandoned apartment in Antioch. Instead of reporting it, they allegedly dumped her body in a dumpster, moved it blocks away, and set it ablaze with lighter fluid. Sharllman's sister testified that Mykaella was reported missing a week later without having known what occurred, nor that they were robbed of their ability to properly lay her to rest. So you guys, and so this is Reunite Sandy Speaks. This is not critical thinking with the 20th key. But we need to think critically. I just want you guys to understand and see a pattern, a trend where things happen to black people and they don't add up. Her body was badly burned. But they're saying that she died from fentanyl. If she died from fentanyl, why did these officers mutilate and set her body ablaze? Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo Boone. And what I want to highlight to you guys, that when I do my investigation, guys, please subscribe, please participate, because we have long-term goals with this, okay? And I want, as we move on and we highlight things that we're going to highlight, that we keep in our mind that these things occur. And it's a pattern when it comes to black people. When I research and read about these issues, none of these news people talked about that Ashton, Montalvo and Deangelo Boone were police officers. I saw this on K-Ron number 4, K-Ron 4, I guess channel 4, K-Ron 4 News. And they detailed the woman's body being burned, her being found. But no one says that Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo Boone were police officers. I read a report, saw a video, NBC Bay Area News. The reporter, I think her name is Audrey Astio. She reports it. No one says that these are police officers. And so I'm highlighting things, and it's points that I'm making because I'm trying to show you, because with my purpose, long-term goal, is to demonstrate this with these videos, with these patterns of abuse of black people, or black people being treated differently, which is a violation of the 14th Amendment, that these are patterns. And this is how they carry out the pattern of anti-black inequality that continues in this country. And even the Roots, what is this lady's name? It's a young woman. I'll put it in here because I don't have her name in front of me. Even the Roots talked about this story, but no one identified the people who were charged, the two men, as police officers. And so it gets even better. They decide to drop the charges against these two officers because the people who investigated the murder or the blazing or setting her afire, because supposedly she was dead already, is what they're insinuating. And family, I want you to understand, they're saying she was dead, and he, in these videos, you guys, please recognize that this stuff never makes sense. And you're going to see white people in the comments saying all kind of stuff to justify this occurrence, insinuating that I'm saying this racist thing, I'm saying this thing about us not being equal. And the why it continues, because it's the common culture. culture becomes cultural norms when it becomes something happens and it becomes acceptable. It becomes ingrained into the cultural norm. So when these really oddities happen that don't make any sense to black people are low-key like, or high-key, to non-black people, we talk to each other, and sometimes we just blatantly say it, and like we know what it is. And sometimes because we're tired of constantly highlighting the hurt and the pain that goes on as being a black American, we'll be like, yeah, we know what it is, okay? And this is why did 2 police officers burn this woman's body? Then, so you guys don't know about this, and I'll probably report this in another video about California. Multiple officers are being investigated for racial and I think maybe homophobic texts to each other. And you guys, I don't know the whole story. I can't speak to it intelligently, but I remember hearing about it and reading about it briefly. And initially, they were not released the names of the officers who are being investigated. And I think as of recently, a judge ordered that the names are going to be released. We'll probably talk about that in another video. Okay? And so, this is California. And if you guys can show me this kind of stuff happening in other states as prevalently as it is here, what I'm sitting here saying to you is California is set up to be anti-black. So many black people have left California because they struggle to live and to maintain life here. And it has to do with anti-black culture and the inequalities that go on. I mean, you guys, look, can y'all please leave a message, talk about it? Because my concern is, it's like it's normal and usual. How did 2 police officers burn this child's body? Put her in a trash. Said they found her in a building. How did they find her in a building? What were they doing in the building? Found her in a building. Put her in the trash. I should say to you, is video surveillance of her. And I want to talk briefly about my notes, you guys. Her mother's name is Sandra Dempsey. And so the charges against Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo Boone the charges were dropped. And what they're saying is they don't have confidence in bringing the case to trial because the people involved in the investigation are guilty of anti-black racial slurs and homophobic slurs via text messages. And I realize that I can go on my opinion. I can realize that I can be biased because I'm a victim of hate crimes by multiple departments in the state of California. So we can say that maybe I am being biased. So possibly, I don't think that I am, but it's a possibility that I might be because like with critical thinking, you gotta be mindful of your biases. Okay. And I say that because I want you guys to talk to me. I want you guys to leave me messages or comments about my position. Because my position is this is far-fetched and wild. This is what I keep saying you. When it's a black person, some crazy stuff happened like, he was trying to grab my gun. Why did they take this girl? If they're police officers, it says that they failed to report it. 2 men found her in an abandoned apartment in Antioch. I forgot where I got this information from, but I got it from one of these news outlets. Why are they referring to them as 2 men? Is it critical? Is this piece of information important to the story? That they were police officers. See, this is where United Sandy speaks, but this can also be critical thinking because I want us to think critically. And please, can someone please comment and tell me, am I tripping? Or does this sound far-fetched? They didn't say that these people were police officers. They don't describe or explain what was their rationale for not reporting her but burning her body. Then there are racist police officers, because I'm telling y'all, California, y'all who don't live here, people who haven't, not from California, they come because California, LA, and all of the California is beautiful, you guys. And I am encouraging black people. My other project is to create a chocolate city in LA. To us to have industry and have a black, area. Like like Chinatown or whatever. I want there to be a black community and it's known for black culture and black things. And we have that here, but I wanted to expand. I want us to increase the population of black people in the state. Because California is beautiful and it's so much opportunity here. But, you guys, I'm sitting here thinking, because I'm sitting, I'm in my head. And in my head, I'm thinking, maybe you're just being biased. No, this is crazy. Why have it in these two, and I highlighted, it was K-Ron 4, NBC, Bay Area News, even The Roots, which is a black publication, I believe, and a black writer, did not identify that these two people were police officers. And then, yeah, you guys, they dropped the charges because those who were investigating the murder, I can't even say I can call it murder because they're insinuating that she was dead already. You see how far-fetched this shit sound? Anyway, the district attorney is saying that if they can find additional evidence, that they will try to reopen the case. Family, I need us to start doing some projects together, some campaigns together, and some efforts, because I want change, y'all. I'm not here to entertain y'all. I mean, I know y'all be long-winded and stuff, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me. How can this be enjoyable, right? But I hope that you have an interest and you have a conscious decision to help me, because I keep saying I can't do it by myself. I can't, and I know that. There's a lot of things I don't know, okay? And I need help in terms of investigating stuff, like finding out, like, okay, for example, one of the things that I want to do with this, I'm going to probably insert it in here, is that we either write letters or we call the district attorney and ask them, because this is what they're saying. I think I had notes. Why does my phone keep texting? Someone keeps texting me. It said, you guys, I've been reading stuff, and please be bear with me. It's another story I want to talk about. I'm rushing through this one because in investigating this, I found another story that I found not more important, but very important. Okay, so the district attorney says if they find additional information that they're dropping the charges now, but if they have additional information or evidence leading that they feel would be valuable or help them. I'm trying to read what they said. The spokesperson, Ted, I can't say this person's name, Asargando, said in an earlier email that prosecutors are hopeful APD, Antioch Police Department, can pursue other investigative avenues and bring our office more evidence to review for charging decisions. So you guys, I'm going to get this information. It says Contra County District Attorney's Office no longer has confidence in the integrity of this prosecution, the statement said. So you guys, these are the things that we're going to start identifying, highlighting, and recognizing the pattern. We no longer have confidence in the integrity. And I want you guys to notice when it's black people. And so this is, again, it's going to be a process, because what's going to happen, I'm going to have to document, cover, and report these stories. And as we report these stories, hey guys, I'm going to read this to you. And this is regarding the... So what happened, you guys? California is anti-black. And I'm going to demonstrate just how anti-black California is. Because you guys, y'all be like, you ain't been to the South. How Florida is, California is anti-black. And why it's so alarming is the state is blue and it's liberals. Okay? And I'm demonstrating to you how these liberals are anti-black. Not only are they anti-black, the system is set up to cover it up. Not acknowledge it. When it happens and it occurs, if you, whatever department you're in, wherever you work, you know to downplay it or spin it as if it's not racism. And that's why it continues. That's why they get away with it. I keep trying to tell y'all, they do this to us because they can. We are an easy target. And it's time that we stop being an easy target. I want to read this to you guys. This is CNBC. Family of woman found in dumpster is ready to fight after charges drop because of police department's racist Texas. Do you understand what I'm saying to y'all? A black woman was found burnt to death beyond recognition. She was accused of being a drug user and overdosing. 2 police officers found her, put her in a trash can, moved her and set her ablaze. And it says they were charged with mutilation, so they must have cut her in pieces, then burned her up. Family, please explain to me, why would police officers do that if they didn't have any involvement in her death? Can we like really have a discussion about this? It says mutilation. If they just found, because what they're trying to say is they found her body in an abandoned building, didn't report it. They said, "Oh, we're just gonna cut her up and burn her." Family, can you just think what it requires to cut somebody up and burn their body? What kind of heinous shit is that? And these were police officers. And again, I want you to recognize in all these news reports, no, they do not say, I had to look for it. And maybe out of 10, maybe 1 mentioned that they were police officers. And when they do, it's really very vague. And what we're going to do, as we put all these different stories out, we're going to go back and look for other stories very similar that involves Caucasian people, and we're going to compare and contrast how it's handled. Let me read this to y'all really quickly. Homophobic slurs. Okay, this is CNBC. It was written by Tim Stallo, and here it says, homophobic slurs, racist images. The message from 2020 and 2021 were sent and received by dozens of officers and included homophobic slurs, racist images, and the casual discussion of using less lethal weapons on people, including city mayor who is black, according to an investigative report compiled by the Contra Costa District Attorney's Office. I don't understand that. California Attorney General opened an investigation last month to determine if the police department engaged in a pattern and practiced unconstitutional policy. Arasoga, I can't say. Y'all say she can't read. Aragado. This is the person's name. This is the spokesperson. Said Wednesday announcement marked the first time the prosecutor's office has dropped a felony case linked to the messages. So, you guys, it's a whole nother story where these officers were guilty of racist text messages and bragging about abuse. Initially, I believe several months ago, they wouldn't identify the officers. And my understanding is now the judge ordered that the officer's name be identified. So we'll probably cover that as well. But here's the point. Let's wrap this up. This young woman, you guys, please comment and please talk to me because I want to know that I'm not tripping. Okay? Mykaella Sharllman's body was found brightly burned on October 17th by 2 Antioch Police Department officers, Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo, Boone. Based on racist activities by the police department, has prompted the district attorney not to press charges. And what they're saying is that they're going to start doing an investigation. They're going to look into all the cases, because these officers also apparently worked in other departments besides the Antioch Police Department. They worked in other police departments. That they're going to pull all their history of their investigations, and it's likely that many cases are going to be thrown out because of bias. Anyway, you guys, I want to talk about another story. I want to talk about I'm gonna create a whole other video for this, but I'm gonna do a video about the Starbucks case. If you guys, I may have talked about this before, you guys. I found this when I was investigating the murder or the burning of Mykaella Sharllman. And the black reporter for the Roots, I was looking to see who she was because I'm thinking even the black reporter's not naming that these people were police officers. Okay? And I found another story that I want to talk about Starbucks. If you guys have probably heard me talk about, I think in 2018, they called the police on black young men who were in Starbucks waiting for their friend. They called the police on them. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to link the video below, but I'm going to talk about that in another video because it's been a further development about that. And I'm mentioning it because you guys have probably, if you watch my videos, I've talked about it. I've talked about when companies are guilty of abuse, anti-black behavior, treatment, discrimination, that when we see that it's obvious discrimination, that we shouldn't go and patronize these businesses. And many of y'all don't care. Many of y'all are like, whatever. It ain't gonna change nothing. I need to go to the local store. The local public accused this woman of stealing. This is a specific case. Accused her of stealing. She had her receipt. It was a whole to-do about it. It was in Florida. You're not gonna see me in Publix. And that's what I'm talking about. The Starbucks case. The Starbucks case, I've mentioned this to you guys, is that when this happened in Starbucks, when they called the police on these 2 guys who were just sitting there waiting for their friends, then I didn't go on Starbucks again. This was 2018. As I think about it, it's a Starbucks on Melrose that I like. I stopped going to Starbucks completely. And it wasn't just because, it wasn't in response to, okay, yeah, they violated the rights of black people, they're discriminating against black people, but I'm not going to patronize you and give you my money if you're not going to respect and treat black people equal. But stronger for me, you're not going to see me in your store. If you're treating black people bad and it's a common culture, you guys, it's a Starbucks in Melrose that I would go to. I probably talked about it before. My daughter used to be an actress and took acting classes on Melrose. Melrose is like a really like a famous street in Los Angeles, in West Hollywood. And when my daughter would take acting lessons, like Starbucks, you go in with your computer, you drink coffee, you hang out and you chill. That's why this issue with them calling the police on 2 men who said they were just waiting for their colleagues to come was so important. I'm not going to get into that too deeply on this video. I just want you guys to look forward. I'm going to do it next. But so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'm probably gonna put the information right here about the district attorney, who the district attorney is, and so forth, because we need to call the district attorney. We need to communicate that we have questions as to why she doesn't have confidence if there's surveillance. There's surveillance of these two men moving her body. Their camera surveillance, seeing her move the body, but they don't have confidence because the police officers who are guilty of racial discrimination were involved in the investigation. You guys listen, can we talk about it? I don't want to do this by myself. I have really strong concerns that my position is one-sided. That, and I'm just being honest. I think I'm right. I think that two police officers found a black woman's body in a building, didn't report it, and then burned her body. But they're not being charged with anything, but they're being charged with mutilation of a human body. It says Ashton, Montalvo, and Deangelo Boone were charged with arson and mutilating of human remains in the death of the 23-year-old woman in October. Do you guys believe that they murdered her? I mean, that's what. See, you guys, and I get so angry because I'm like, as black people, they seriously be pissing on us, and then they're like, it's raining. Like, piss on me and tell me it's raining. We are going to start documenting these patterns of these far-fetched stories. They don't make any sense. If it was if something happened to, if we were charged with something and then we came up with these crazy ass stories, the judge has judicial discretion. When black people say these crazy stories and say, "Oh yeah, the dog stole my the dog did it," or some shit like that, the judge is like, I don't believe that. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't add up. But when these people when things happen to us, please explain to me how two officers found a black girl's body in a building, put her in a trash can, and then let her blaze. They didn't report it. Anyway, you guys, I want to go on to the next video. So, I'm Latoya, and this is Reunite Sandy Speaks. Y'all come fuck with me.
They killing us for walking, killing us for jogging, kill us in our homes and fabricating and hiding. Where we had Sandra Bland's and Trayvon Martin's. If when you kill us, your family was a target. If your children was orphans, will you have compassion the next time you approach us? Yeah, we fed up, this is built up. Your city up in smoke, homeboy, we had enough. And I ain't enticing riots of violence, heighten the climate. I'm saying you smack me, I'm punching you in your iris. Retaliation is prescribed in both Bible and Quran. In the matters of the slang, see an eye for an eye. Especially if the Justice Department do